Hello and welcome to Before We Break Up Again, a podcast. It's ours. Before We Break Up Again. Do you remember from a couple of months ago we had a podcast called Before We Break Up Again? Well, it's that, and it's back, and it's better than ever before, and it's now going nowhere. We've done a hiatus. We've experimented with. It's going places, but do you know what I mean? It's not going anywhere, but it is going somewhere. So it's like do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And tell them what we have now that's new.
We have a Patreon because we'd like to earn some money, and we want to be creative. We want to be paid for being creative. So patreon.com/braveclown, which is sort of a spoonerism of our second names that doesn't quite work, but it is nonetheless what it's called. Patreon.com/braveclown, which is going to be a home for Patreon specials. There's one up right now of a behind-the-scenes look, a day in the life of OnlyFans hair fetish star Jessie Cave. There's also an extra episode of this per week. Before We Break Up Again, an extra slice. And it's also going to be a home for other sort of creative bits and pieces that we've got, which is why the name is Brave Clown, because it's going to be a place where we can both put stuff that we're excited about.
I think you've done that.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Enjoy the episode.
You did a good job there. Well
Enjoy
done.
the episode.
Thank you.
Not you.
We have such a similar size of foot that I sometimes wear your Crocs for the whole day and don't even realise.
But if I try and put on your Crocs, they don't fit.
Okay, well, that's good. Good for you.
So just back off with all of your feet goading.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling quite positive mentally. I'm feeling great. I would say my observation is that having 4 children in Liverpool is so many more children than having 4 children living in central London.
In what way?
In the way that yesterday we had football practice that went on until 7:30. That needed to be driven to and from. We had an MMA class that needed to be driven to and from. Tonight we have a dance class, or regularly we would have a dance class. On Tuesdays there's various other bits, but there's extracurricular out the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
And my hip, I've got a pain in my hip and my right gluteus maximus, which is Latin for ass cheek. And I'm from driving, because I don't have a very good driving posture. My hip tilts inwards. And what's your problem?
Nothing.
What were you peering into the camera for?
It's just flashing.
Nothing's flashing.
Oh, it just flashed and some letters came up.
Yeah, it's just telling you to stop looking at the camera.
Okay, sorry.
That's all it's.
I'm sorry, sir.
Sorry, Daddy.
Sorry, Daddy. Sorry, I interrupted your flow.
Do you not think that that's true?
Yeah, it is. It is exhausting. I think in Liverpool they just seem to do more clubs and things go later, maybe because they have to have a window of time where you have to drive there, so the clubs start a bit later and end later. Or we just weren't as bothered about clubs in London. You've always been quite anti-extracurricular, but I was very keen to join them in things as soon as we arrived here, because I just want them to make friends and I want them to do the things that we could not do in London. And football here is a religion, and I'm so glad that he's into a club already and that he's having fun. And then I've always, I really, it just seems to be a way of life here. I spoke to a dad yesterday who said, just, about to start the evening session, because he was taking his 2 kids to various clubs. Yeah.
I just don't know how anybody is like working on themselves. The school day, like from 9 until 3:30, doesn't really seem to be enough time to get anything done. And then from 3:30, you're sort of at work as a taxi service to your own children, whereby you have to ferry them to and from various extracurricular. I haven't always been anti extracurricular activities. I've been anti-swimming because I don't think you get a lot of bang for your buck with swimming. I think you take so long getting to swimming and then getting them ready to swim. Then there's a tiny little moment in the middle where they actually do swimming. And then there's drying them and like corralling. And I just don't think like most of going swimming is the stuff around swimming. So little of taking your kids swimming is actually swimming. And the swimming clubs and classes where they learn it, it's like a half an hour slot. You're doing so much more than the actual swimming bit.
But it's so good for them.
Yeah, but you'd be better spent going to actual swimming and taking them swimming yourself.
Which we never do.
Yeah, because that's, I'm sorry, but it is difficult.
Some of my happiest moments as a mother have been watching them swim. It's just, I think it's because I was a swimmer growing up and I remember that feeling of floating and the lights and the like swimming when it was dark outside and being in the swimming pool with, it just felt so special. Even though I hated it towards the end of my swimming days.
Why was that? Why did you move from love to hate?
Because I did it so competitively. I would cheat. I would pull along the rope to get disqualified on purpose.
Right, because you could only face like losing. The shame in losing having cheated was less than if you lost based on a lack of ability to swim. Is that why?
Yeah, by the end of that, because I was doing tennis and swimming at the same time. So my entire week was swimming and tennis after school. And I did a few early morning swimmings as well. I remember begging to stop swimming. And
you had to beg. It wasn't a decision that your parents came to easily for you.
No, I think it was just something like, oh no, you're good at this, so you should keep going. And I respect that now because it was a strong move on my parents' part. But towards the end, I just was so wanting to stop that I would do anything to kind of sabotage the session. But watching them swim, I really do enjoy, and I feel really guilty that they're not doing swimming already. But we can't actually do. I think having now got this many children, we need to pick one thing for each of them that they excel at. And that's also hard because like, what if I feel bad? Donnie's like, oh, it's not fair that Becca's starting football and he's 3. It's not fair because if I had started at 3, I'd be so good. And because I've got more time with Becca, I've been taking him to play tennis and stuff like that. He's just going to be better at things than they are because he started younger because I've got more time.
Yeah. But the sad thing for him is that he's a natural dancer and that will be the route that he ends up taking. And any deviation from the career of dancing for him, it will be wasted.
It's a tragedy.
Any time not spent dancing is wasted time for that little boy.
He is so good and so naturally good doing moves. I don't know where. Can you hear that? Picking. Mm-hmm. Oh God, sorry. That's disgusting. He's doing moves. I don't know where he learned them from. He's just naturally got away with his body. He was dancing as Ten was doing his class yesterday. And there's a whole line of parents who sit and watch these kids do their MMA. And there's a side of the sports hall where toddlers and, siblings can run around. It's really sweet that they allow that. And Becca just goes to the middle and starts doing a dance for the rest of and just says, Mummy, look. And I have to look every single time. And all of these parents just watching him cracking up. And then they look over at me and I have to say, sorry. Because it's just so, he doesn't realize that it's so attention seeking. And this dad next to me yesterday was like, I can't do the accent. He was like, he's a character, isn't he?
But he does realize that he's attention seeking. The way that he maneuvers his shoulders up towards his ears as his eyebrows go up, and then makes his abdomen go limp. His back hunches, shoulders rise, and eyebrows go up. I'm trying to describe it. And then a little bend in the knees at the same time. Do
it for the YouTube. Just
like a kind of, he dances like a marionette in that way that only it's very difficult to dance like a marionette. It's very funny if you can do it. It's incredible to watch.
But I said to the dance school, do you have any other boys? And they were like, no, we don't. We don't have any boys. Because they thought at first Ten and Becca were girls. Because I did let them do a trial class. And I said, do you have any boys? And like, no, we don't. We'd love them, but no, just no, we don't have any. And I said, so what happens when, if a boy did join? He said, oh, we had one 5 years ago, and actually he's now professional. It's so much easier for boys to become professional dancers than it is girls because there's just so much fewer than them. So I was thinking, do we put him in that world and he's the only boy with a load of girls? I mean, he refused to do the class, so it's already shut down. But I don't know, it would be choosing a life for him.
It wouldn't. It's just because one boy did the class near us and then went on to become professional doesn't mean that would be the case for our child.
No, I mean that we'd be choosing I know what you mean, but he wouldn't say, can I go to dance class? It would be us actively putting him in dance class.
Well, that's the case with almost all of the extracurricular activities that children do at that age.
Yeah, but football is like an obvious one. Everyone does football. Everyone does swimming.
Because everybody's parents choose it for them. You could take them to archery class.
Well, there's a boy who does fencing. I was like, how do you know that there's fencing classes? And I'd like them to do basketball. I'd like them to do all this stuff. But also, we don't have enough money. So we have to pick one. The classes here, it's now kind of shocking to me how expensive the clubs were in London. It's almost criminal. For swimming, for one per month, it would be £100 in total for 3 kids. £100. I don't know how much swimming is here, but the classes here are a third cheaper.
I suppose I just didn't want to be busy, like as a child or as an adult. I just can't get my head around the idea that there you go, you finished school and your reward is more of a different type of school. I just can't. I know that Ten loves his MMA class, and I know that you love taking him to his MMA class because you like the instructor of the MMA class.
The leader, the master.
Because you've described him as, would you like to tell everybody what you said about it?
I don't remember.
You said he looks like he has a big MMA cock.
And he's got such good posture, it kind of pokes out.
Yeah. What, his big MMA cock pokes out?
Just can't not see it.
But all the children are at MMA cock height, so I don't think that's a good idea. I think actually if it's poking out, then he needs to be reported to...
No, it wasn't poking out. I looked.
Yeah, for an MMA cock that you suspected was there.
No, I actually, to be fair, the reason I like him is because he's got about 8 children and I like that.
And they all help him take the class, don't they?
Yeah. So it's a very family-orientated business of self-defense and they play pop music. What more is there to like?
And of course, because he's got so many children that are indeed taking the class with him, you know that not only is it a big MMA cock, but a highly functional MMA cock.
You mean his children who are running the class? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's fertile.
And that does something for you, doesn't it? You like a fertile man.
I like a man who's got loads of kids. Yeah.
Even me?
No, because you didn't want them. So
well, no, okay, but you have to, I didn't, but I do.
You want them now they're here. Like I like the dog now he's here. I wouldn't have chosen a dog. No. So it's actually really good for me, isn't it? Because now I get your love. It's almost inevitable that I'll love this dog because you love him and he's here. You brought him here.
Yeah.
So I do get it now. Exactly. I do understand that you do love them, even though you didn't choose them.
And you're going to love our Doberman, Sally G.
We were told by a dog trainer not to take the dog, to kind of be wary around other dogs for now. And so we thought we'd take him to this field yesterday where we thought it would be quite empty. And we arrived there and there were 2 huge Dobermans. They looked like horses.
One with a docked tail and docked ears, which is illegal. And one with lovely floppy ears and a big tail.
They did look terrifying from a distance and they ran so fast. Will a Ridgeback run as fast as a Doberman?
Yeah, faster, I think.
Oh my God. He's so big. This dog is so big already.
Our dog is big.
So big.
But you wanted to get 2, didn't you? Because I would have had the genius stroke of taking Jessie to the breeder when she herself was ovulating. So we were on the way there going, we should call up now and ask if we can take 2.
Yeah, it was one of those mad moments. But, you know, we all have mad moments. You just shaved your head. Shaved your head. Anyway, I think we talked about the that in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
We've done so many now, I've kind of lost track. I do like a man with lots of kids because it shows that he is selfless to a certain extent. And that's a really attractive quality for me. And I guess I like the fact that he likes children, and I am never more attracted to you than when you're being great with the kids. Like, it's just like, I mean, yesterday when we were at dinner and you did a different accent per page of the book, we were reading 10 and they could call out accent, and then you did a different page in that accent. I was crying. I was crying.
Even though
love.
arguably it was quite racist.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Only page 7 and 13. But that's the innocence of childhood, is that you only learn as an adult that it's racist to do a Japanese accent because of World War II and the anti-Japanese propaganda campaign in America. And then it kind of became a kind of racist thing, but it wouldn't just be like doing an Italian accent without that. So and they don't know that. It's not racist to them. It's only racist to us. And I knew it was bad. I did it.
I didn't. I don't know anything. We need to hand in that GP form. How have we not handed in your GP form now?
If you think that a podcast that we are releasing publicly for people's enjoyment, that we one day hope to monetize and form an income off the back of, if you think that that is the right time to ask me about why we haven't handed in my GP form, then
that will stay there for years. We should frame that.
We should.
That's the awful thing about moving into a house that's blank. I knew if we didn't sort out certain things from day one, we would. I remember filling that form first week we were here and thinking, if I don't hand this in this week, he's not going to get a GP.
It lived in the car for a bit and now it's back in the house. It's getting further away from the GP's office. At least when it was in the car, it was only ever I'll just pop in and give it to the GP. Now, I wonder what made us take it in the house.
Because it was getting battered.
It was fine.
I need you to have a GP. It's just one of those things that we need to do. It's such a grown up, mature thing to do. You need to have a GP. You need to go and get checked.
For what?
Everything.
But I've not got anything.
No, I know, but you should just I guess you got your blood tested recently.
Yeah, I got my blood tested recently because I wanted testosterone replacement therapy.
Yeah, and you tried to cheat the system, didn't you?
Yeah.
You took the...
But you can't do it.
Right, sorry, I went.
You can't. Look, a man's testosterone will have peaks and troughs throughout the day. So on the little report card that you send your blood back with, it asks you what time of day you took the test. Have you taken the test?
Have you taken the test?
And so it knows whether you're taking it in a peak or a trough. So I Googled when the peaks and when the troughs were. I took it in a trough and said it was a peak. So it would look, I don't even know if that worked, but I also was pretty pissed when I took it. Well, I'd had a few
You did that on purpose, yeah.
I did that on purpose because I thought that might lower my testosterone. So I'd be more because I just can't be bothered. All of this, you should eat well and you should do exercise. Just give me the thing.
No, that's the problem. Like Ozempic.
No, just give me the thing. Give me the thing. It's like saying, I'm cold. Well, you should do some moving. Nah, just put on a jumper. We invented jumpers. We invented blankets. What the fuck? How is testosterone replacement therapy any different to Gusto? Gusto coming around with there's your fucking meal, you loser who can't cook.
Maybe we should do Gusto.
I'm not doing Gusto. Whenever I see a Gusto box on anybody's front porch, I think I'm going to take a slash on that just to teach you a lesson for not And look, it's me being judgmental, and I understand that. And you can be judgmental about the shortcuts that I want to take in life. We can all be judgmental about each other to make ourselves feel better about the things that we do. I enjoy to cook. I made a rather lovely spinach and peanut butter chana dal,
which you gave me. So the reason why I don't want to do gusto or cook or any of those things, even though it would make our lives so much easier, is because they would have the calories displayed on it. And if I knew the calories on the amount of curry that you gave me in that flour bowl last night,
I give Jessie her dinner every night.
I would vomit right now.
I give Jessie her dinner every night in a plant pot because Jessie's not very good at adhering to portion control.
You do that because you like the idea that I'm going to be so full that I won't pester you for sex later. That's why you do it, I think.
I also like a fuller figured woman. I like some livestock that you might keep. I like to mark you up, sell you on.
I think I put on weight lately, I said to him, I feel really fat. Like, no, you look thinner than ever.
You look skinny. You're a skinny bitch.
You're horrible.
Anyway, Jessie's not very good at adhering to portion control. The good thing about gusto is that it would come in a little box. So you get your measly little portion for dinner. You would get through a gusto box and then go, right, now where the fuck is dinner? Because that's how we eat. We basically graze on nuts and fruits and
little keto
bars throughout the day. And then we have one meal. Because who the fuck is having... Like somebody mentioned lunch to me the other day. Lunch? Are you fucking high?
What are they doing?
Who's having lunch?
What are they doing? Like, how can they be earning money if you have lunch?
We're not. Maybe if we
earning money.
Maybe if we earned more, if we ate more lunch, we'd be earning more money. Maybe lunch is the secret to success. Anyway,
I know that you sometimes say to me when I say, well, you haven't done any exercise today, or I say, you tell me quite often, the body is just burning calories. So I still need to eat 1,800 calories because that's how much I'm burning. Even if I'm sitting down all day, that's how much the body is doing. And I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit.
Okay.
So I couldn't have lunch if I hadn't done some kind of extreme exercise between breakfast and lunch. Because then I'd be like, well, no, I haven't earned lunch. Whereas that's what most people do. They have breakfast and they move. I don't believe that. I wouldn't be hungry for lunch.
Okay. Well, maybe there's a splinter podcast we could start called Jessie versus Science.
And Jessie's dysfunction.
Because I don't know what could convince you of the fact. For me, of a man of my weight, to be alive for one day, I will spend about 1,600-700 calories. If I just lay in bed all day watching The West Wing, I could eat 1,600-700-ish calories and not put on weight.
I think that's bullshit.
But it isn't bullshit.
You're a liar.
I might, like, my muscles would atrophy because I would be in bed all day. So I would look worse, no doubt. But I would not put on mass.
No, don't buy it.
No, but it's not for you to buy or not buy. I'm not selling you anything. It is the way it is because it is the way it is. If it wasn't the way it is, it wouldn't be the way it is.
Well, we'll see.
No, but we have seen.
We'll see. If somebody asks me, do I want to meet for coffee or lunch? I don't meet them at all because I'm annoyed that they asked.
What? The assumption that you would eat lunch?
That there's even a possibility that I would eat lunch.
Oh, well, I would eat lunch out because I don't have to cook nor make it, wash it up.
If I have lunch, it ruins my day. We've had our biggest fight this year was because we had a spontaneous lunch one day in Liverpool, actually. And I happened to be in my luteal phase and it was, I was so angry that I'd eaten lunch because I felt so appalling and because of my portion sizes, obviously. I would be clinically obese if I had lunch.
I'm going to say, you said we had a fight because we had lunch. And then you mentioned that you were in your luteal phase. I'm going to say because you were in your luteal phase and we happened to have lunch. I think you're blaming the wrong thing.
This podcast is now we might as well call it something with luteal in the title because this is every single episode, it's a fight that we've had because of my luteal phase.
I even call your luteal, I have a name for her, don't I? Lucy.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because of the song.
No.
Lucy Luteal.
Yeah, Lucy Luteal.
Is Lucy Luteal a real person?
No, Lucy Liu is a real person.
Oh, Lucy Luteal. Got it. I only just got that.
Right.
So that's been lost on me every single time you've said that.
Yeah. And also I will sing Lucille by Chuck Berry.
Yes.
To the sound of, I think you know that though.
Yeah.
Long-term listeners will know. Luteal. Do you might as well. Luteal.
What did we have a conversation about in the car 2 days ago? Because I said, because we had sex the night before and we hadn't had sex maybe in a little, longer than I would have liked before that time we had sex. So I was kind of trying to say to you, it sounds bad actually. It sounds too bad to talk about this, but I said to you something like the way we could temper the luteal phase is by just scheduling in sex. Because if we did that, then I would like you more. So it would trick it would almost, it would be like a loophole in the luteal phase if there's regular, alternate daily sex, alternate day sex, because then I would be full up with you. Sorry, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's disgusting. I would be
sure to
satiated.
put a warning on this podcast.
Sated? I'd be sated.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't get bitchy.
Yeah. And
you wanted to...
If that isn't a horny incentive, I don't know what is.
You said that it's the equivalent of being castrated.
No, I said it has a castrating effect. I said that because what you've omitted from your retelling just now is your use of the short phrase sex life. Now, what the short phrase sex life does to my cock is it turns it into a little bit of dust in my hand that I could just offer you the little pile of dust and just pour it on.
And I'll take it.
And you'll take it.
And I'll eat it.
Okay. I find the phrase sex life utterly repellent.
I didn't say sex life. I was joking when I said that.
You did say sex life.
I didn't know. I was mocking your
I didn't say sex life. No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Omit any details of other human beings.
Sorry.
Thank you very, very much indeed.
Well, you don't know what ex. That's fine. Out of your 50 million.
Sure. So...
That was at 27 minutes.
Yeah. And I think that we are in a period of discovery right now. It's the first time that we've had a bedroom that just you and I sleep in, really. Or the first time maybe for 11 years.
Mm-hmm. That's our bedroom.
That we've had a bedroom that is our bedroom that only you and I sleep in.
That we've curated together.
Maybe in Shepherd's Bush. But it never really happened in Shepherd's Bush.
No, we didn't. That wasn't in both flats that we lived in Shepherd's Bush. I was co-sleeping. So it was your bedroom. And the one that we lived in that first flat we moved to was so disgusting with mold that I couldn't go in there. And that was probably the worst bit of our relationship, probably because Ben had just died. But
it was because of that, because I was sleeping in a moldy bedroom because COVID hit and you would go upstairs to sleep with the children and I would call up my friends on the phone. And I think quite a few times I drank half a bottle of bourbon. And then I overlooked at a few videos of myself. I'm like, my eyes are fucked. Why are my eye bags so enormous? And then I realized it's because I had absolutely destroyed my gut microbiome with hard liquor.
Which I didn't know about. There's so many nights now I realize in our tenure that I don't know that you've been absolutely wasted.
But I think I might have some bourbon tonight.
Okay, no.
I just remembered that I have some in the little drinks cabinet.
Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to gulp it up.
Well, it's been there since we moved in and I haven't had any.
Yeah, but you just remembered it's there.
I've just remembered it's there. Yeah, I saw it the other day and I didn't have any.
Yeah, well, you're not having any tonight, mate.
Well, I think I'll just be in control of that decision if it's all the same to you. I'll be in control of that decision for me.
You don't like authority, do you?
Who likes authority? Oh my God.
You're such a problem child.
Anyway,
we have a nice bedroom now, so we didn't want to fall into the trap of moving, having our lovely bedroom for the first time, and then just watching Married at First Sight in bed with chocolate.
Because a few of our contemporaries who are in couples have sadly a sex life that is moribund, or a lack of a sex life. It's just a life, and the sex is wholly absent. And that's a great fear of Jessie's. And
not fear of yours.
No, because I think we have very regular sex.
Yeah. But so what if we didn't have as regular sex as we do? You wouldn't be scared that...
I think we have more regular sex than any other couple that I know. And we have 4 kids and none of them do. And we've been together long. I think you have...
We don't know that.
Okay, unless they're lying to say that it's less than it really is.
Okay, well, I don't ask my friends about their sex.
It's the first thing I ask.
What? You talk to your friends about their sex? Like, I mean, I just don't obviously have as good of friendships.
Every time.
Every time you ask about their sex life and how much they're having sex with their partner.
Sam, how often are you knocking off Alice?
No.
No, of course not.
Okay, good.
But it comes up with close friends. You speak about these things in respectful and confessional terms.
I'd love to hear.
Some friends, it's easier to talk about sex than others. And it's not necessarily a thing of, like, I have friends who I will speak about sex with and it's a very easy thing. And then friends who I would never speak about it with because it feels to them like it's private, but they're no less close to me.
Do you speak about our sex life?
Yeah.
Oh my God, great. What do you say?
I say...
Jessie cried again.
I know. I just say, how long, what positions, whether you were an active participant or a passive participant.
Both.
You got to take it in turns in that department, I think, and you're very good at putting in a shift when it's your turn. Just the different holes.
Okay, right. Let's stop there.
Oh, we've reached your limit, have we?
The holes, I think we reached the limit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to disgust you, but I think if we had a therapist, which we are contemplating getting, because I think it would be good
content.
Could be good fodder for this podcast.
Not, again, and that in and of itself is a reason to go and see a therapist. The reason why we would want to go and see a couples therapist is a reason to go and see a couples therapist, because that is not a healthy reason to want to go and see a couples therapist.
We would have to give fake names as well. Because imagine if she recognized us, which is cocky of me to say, but imagine, and then she would watch the podcast and watch us talking about her. So we would have to do anonymous names.
Mm-hmm. Why? Who's that helping with our faces being our faces? Unless we go in, we could go in latex.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway when they dress up as like...
Okay. No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, we'd have
or
to. Or
Johnny Knoxville's old man in Jackass.
Yeah, it'd be awful though if she did listen. My God, Johnny Knoxville, I love him so much. But we were thinking of...
Does he have a big prankster cock?
No, he just got a lovely tattoo of his daughter's name on his chest. Madison. Oh no, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, we were going to... If we said to the therapist... oh no, I've just lost my train of thought. It was something about sex life. And saying to because I think we're both equally fucked up in this matter. I try to say without freaking you out sometimes, like I said in the car the other day, if we treated sex sometimes just like exercise.
Yeah.
Not like cardio.
Like a chore, yeah.
Not like a chore, but just like, right, this is something we need to do for 5 to 15 minutes 3 times a week to maintain a really happy, like fun vibe between us. And if that dips or change, if it goes more, great. And if it goes less, you might see a result in Jessie's morale. The therapist would say, okay, well, that's a bit strange. But so many people I've spoken to who are in long-term relationships said, oh no, you don't schedule sex. What do you mean you don't schedule? You don't have it in the iCal. That's ridiculous. You have to if you're busy. And that freaks you out because, again, you don't like anyone kind of making you feel suffocated or constricted with rules, or you like being more free and you like doing things on your own accord, which is completely fair enough, especially when it comes to sex. But for me, I do think it would be really useful because I just fall asleep watching maths.
Yeah, I think the problem stems from when you try to initiate sex.
Because you laugh at me.
But also it makes me feel incredibly tense.
Okay.
As we addressed last night. And we were trying to, in the midst of a constructive argument, I would call last night, in the middle, we were trying to get to the bottom of why that is. And you said, well, it's not fair. Like, every time I come onto you, like you recoil. And I said, well, that's, and I remembered a time very early on in our relationship where you said to me, before you go, would you fuck me?
I think I said, please have sex with me, which is more desperate.
I think you said fuck me. And I said, I'm genuinely in a real rush to leave the door. I don't want to be late. I hate being late. I've got to go. And you said, just really quickly, just really, really quickly. And I said, I don't have time. And you went, you don't have to do any, you said, you don't have to do any aftercare. You don't have to kiss me or hug me afterwards. You can just finish and go immediately. I said, I can just finish and go immediately. Like, leave you, zip, and immediately turn on my heel and walk through the door. And you went, yes. And then that's what I did. I came and then zipped. And in one fluid motion, like come, zip, shake, vroom, out the door. And as soon as I was about to leave through the door, you went, where are you going? And there have been occasions whereby you've tried to initiate sex and I haven't felt like it, or I've needed to go. And that has caused a fight. You've taken it as a calculated attack on your sexuality. And I feel so like, fuck, if I don't want to have sex, she's going to be furious with me. And therefore I feel stress when you come onto me, not arousal.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But, and to be fair, if you did say to me, oh, actually, I don't feel like it tonight, I would be so upset. You've never said that. And I would be so upset. And I do now realize, yeah, the amount of times you must have had sex with me when you absolutely didn't want to because you're afraid of having a fight. But a therapist would say, when we mentioned how you deal with those situations, that you are quite not mean.
No, I can be a little bit mean.
Yeah, mean, because you, like I say, when I can't really win because I've been trained to let you initiate because you just know I want to have sex whenever. So it has to be when you want to. And if I do come onto you, you start, oh, here we go again. Or you say something funny, like, you know, she's awake or so, I don't know, an innuendo you always say to kind of make me realize, okay, well, this is, he thinks I'm being silly. And then you say, oh, you know, if you want to have sex with me, don't talk about it. You can't talk about wanting to have sex because that puts me off. That's like, you know, that's disgusting to me.
Okay, I think that's...
So the therapist would say that's actually a bit mean.
It is a bit mean, but it's also the way that you phrase that makes it seem worse. So I think we've both said the same... This is the interesting thing. We've both essentially said the same thing there. I've just explained the genesis of that feeling, which is that I'm afraid that you'll be angry with me if I say no. And that's why I say you don't talk about it because...
But then I can't really win because then if I do try and come onto you, you make me feel silly or dismiss me. So I have to just wait until you're up for it. And you know I'll be up for it. So it's a really difficult situation because if we are gonna try and have a schedule that I would like, because then I feel safe. Yeah, shut up. shut up. Don't just now.
Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays.
No, Alfie. It's
Sundays
a really
Liverpool
difficult
haven't
thing
won, though.
because you have to just, we have to be allowed to talk about it.
Well, yeah, I completely agree. But then I have to be able to say that I don't want to without fear of like anger or causing a fight.
Yeah. And I have to be much better at not feeling personally rejected.
Maybe if you want to have sex, you should just start masturbating and I'll get involved if I want to.
You won't get involved. You won't even look. You won't even look over.
There she goes again.
I remember once when I was pregnant with Donnie and I was kind of like my body was like, didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was very
horny. Say horny.
Yeah, I was very horny the whole time. And we went away together for the first time. And it was the first kind of instance where we were just getting to know each other's.
Formal.
Yeah. We were getting to know each other's rhythms. And we were having sex a lot, but I got cocky, I think. And I was like, well, we should be having sex all the time. And I went upstairs to try and go, I'm going upstairs now. I'm just going to go upstairs now to try and kind of like turn you on. And I went upstairs. No, and you just made no effort. You're like, okay, cool. See you later. You're watching Dexter or something. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go upstairs and I don't know, I might masturbate. I might just go upstairs and masturbate, thinking that would be a very sexy thing to say. And I went up there and like lay on the bed and just waited. I could hear everything in the house. And I was just waiting to see if you turned Dexter off and if you would move.
I don't think it was Dexter, just.
Okay, whatever it was. You big Dexter fan? And I was just lying there thinking, oh, he'll come up in a second. And like ready to kind of like pretend that I'd been masturbating. And eventually you did, but you came upstairs and you were like, what are you doing? And I was going to be like, oh yeah. But you just were so annoyed that you had kind of been forced upstairs. It was such a funny thing, but at the time it was just me working you out and you working me out and you kind of being kind of put off quite majorly.
I'm frequently so unaware of these little psychodramas that happen. I'm just pottering about, living my life, watching Dexter apparently, probably something else. In Newquay?
No, this would be in the.
Okay, because in Newquay, we drove there.
No.
It's relevant though.
You've already said this on the podcast about my song, my ovulation song.
I wanna fuck tonight, 'cause I'm ovulating. Fuck tonight, fuck tonight.
Margot was our second puppy. That's what we did. We had one and we're like, right, let's get another one.
You didn't know it at the time you sang that song, but you were already pregnant with Margot.
Yeah. And you just shaved your head. So what does that say? One is on the way soon.
Yeah. Or I shave my head in times of great distress.
We don't do things by half. We saw my sister the other day and she's kind of quite baffled by our big life changes. And like, we've just moved to Liverpool and we have a huge van and we walk in the park and we have a dog now. We have a giant dog and she's just kind of getting used to that whole thing. And then we said, oh, Alfie's going to shave his head. And she was like, why so much change?
Yeah, she was distressed.
We really do go for it with the change.
We do. But if you're not moving forward, you're going backwards, staying still, something like that.
Poetic.
I think I'm very excited about the sex schedule. I think we should also, when we put it in the iCal, we should go like, okay,
use stickers.
Well, emojis.
Oh yeah.
And one emoji there'll be an emoji with a top bun.
Yes.
That'll mean that that's you doing the work. And then
or the witch.
And then the night, whatever my emoji would be, means that it's my time for me.
The top hat.
Yeah, bit of elbow grease from me.
And then the third one's like, surprise. What's going to happen?
Oh, you want to do a dealer's choice one?
Yeah. And also one time doesn't have to be sex. It could just be like us staring into each other's eyes for an hour.
I think
that kind of thing, because that's what I heard on this relationship podcast thing was sex isn't the thing. It's about touch and eye contact and just being there for each other and stuff like that.
Why do you think that you view sex in these sort of acquisitional, almost competitive terms? There seems to be a lack of security in my desire for you that needs like it to be proved in frequent erections.
Because I was raped.
Yeah.
Because I was raped, of course. It's no brainer. It's not funny, obviously. It's very serious, but yeah, definitely. It completely fucked me up sexually.
Just anybody who's
sorry
concerned that we save these chats for the podcast. Jessie and I went for breakfast the other day. All the kids were at nursery, and the dog was, he'd had enough training to be well behaved underneath the table. And I think you had some eggs. I had some eggs in a bap or something.
Don't say that in public, Alfie. I did not eat eggs.
You did.
They're disgusting.
Eggs, avocado, and mushrooms, or whatever you eat.
I don't eat food.
And anyway, you had breakfast, and a big breakfast for.
And it ruined the day.
And we were there, and you mentioned, I can't remember if it was even following on from something, but I think you were bemoaning that because you haven't got your period yet, have you?
Mm.
And it's hotly anticipated in the Cave Brown household. The next period is gonna be a big one. And you said that because you didn't have periods until you were 27 and then you said, because was it after your rape you had a huge period?
No, I was given the morning after pill, obviously, to stop me from getting pregnant. And that prompted my first period, a fake period.
And I think all of this stemmed from Jessie saying, I really want my period. And I didn't have it after my rape. I had this huge period. I just hemorrhaged blood as the sandwich entered my mouth. And I don't mind that. Blood's blood. I'm not one of those squeamish period people. But, as a mouthful of egg sandwich is receiving its first mastication. It was just a funny moment to coincide with after my rape, I hemorrhaged blood.
Yeah.
So it's not just for the podcast that we save these sorts of chats. We do have them in our free time as well.
We do.
So why does the rape mean that you view sex in these sort of? I'm trying to link those two together. I'm trying to puzzle that all out.
I don't know either. I'm puzzled. I think it might have been something to do with the fact that I didn't ever feel fancied or attractive. And then suddenly my first sexual experience was rape. And it was such a surprise to be raped.
Yeah. Well,
it was such a shock.
Rape is frequently a surprise.
Yeah, but it was, but because he was my tennis coach. So it was like, what? But he had known me since I was 10. So to not know that he would have found me attractive and then to have been raped by him as my first sexual experience was like, what? It was so confusing. And then because I didn't feel attractive ever, I wasn't like you know how some teenagers just know they're hot and they go around being like, I'm a pretty girl. I'm just a pretty girl. I've always been a pretty girl. I wasn't ever that. So
why not?
Because I wasn't. I mean, I don't think I was particularly pretty. I was bigger. I just disguised myself in turquoise eyeliner. I wasn't particularly, I don't know. I didn't feel, we weren't one of those families who were like, you're so beautiful. Like we're not like that. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think then when I went into sixth form, when suddenly there were boys, like it was that age, it was like, okay, I need to get as far away from the rape as quickly as possible by having sex. So I think a few weeks after I was raped, I had sex, and again, I hemorrhaged.
Yeah.
Hemorrhaged. And
you say you had sex a few weeks after your rape just to prove that
it was possible.
Yeah, to prove that sex, to sort of uncouple sex from that one experience.
Yeah, and it was with a boy, because I had a boyfriend at the time that I was raped who I hadn't had sex with. It was a very sweet, lovely relationship that was such a special thing. And I had purposefully like not had sex with him because I wasn't ready. And so then for him, it was so upsetting, the fact that I was then raped, like, and had taken that experience away from him.
You hadn't taken the experience away from him.
Yeah, yeah. And so then when we had sex for the first time, it was like I had been like, blood was like spurting everywhere. It was comical. And again, it was like, oh, why is the first time I have sex, I have to fucking be raped? And the second time I have sex, I have to bleed. So it wasn't like a normal amount of blood. It was so weird because it coincided with that first period. So it was like it unleashed this. So no wonder and then from then on, I just like, okay, I have to have sex as much as possible just to get away from it. And it wasn't at all with people that I liked, because it was like, and that's why I joked to you about sex doesn't have to be like sex before you was never meaningful or like romantic. It was like, okay, just do it.
Yeah.
And I quite, in a perverse way, I quite like that, I think. I quite like the act of it being quite functional sometimes. I think I like once every 4 or 5 times, great if it's like, you know, romantic or whatever. But I think I prefer the act of just feeling secure.
Yeah. Well, say what you want, but you're not getting chats like this on Never Have I Ever with Joel Dommett and Hannah Cooper, are you? We've certainly carved out our niche, I think.
But you had such lovely romantic experiences.
I did, but I don't want to move on to them right yet.
Okay.
I want to, because I don't want to dwell on what happened to you, but I also don't want to brush past it like it was nothing. And also, I think it's interesting how it is affected you. A lot of people would maybe keep their distance more from sex, but I think it speaks to something in you that you went, no, the opposite. I will. There's no right or wrong way to do it, of course, but it does speak to something about the way that you are that meant you went, no, I have to reclaim that experience on my own terms.
Yeah, it was a switch. I remember that. Like, I mean, I've said this before, but the second that it happened, I was like, oh, I have to be okay, because otherwise I'm going to think about this every 30 seconds the rest of my life. So it was just like, right, how am I going to flip this into something that I can? It was just desperately trying to get away from it. And I think it is probably quite common. I think it's quite common for people who've lost their virginity via rape as a child or teen, to like, I definitely infantilize myself, and to have some kind of thing about sex. Either they don't want it or they are strange about it. And it's definitely affected me. But I think the good thing is I've never been scared since the rape. I've never been scared of sex, which is at least good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yes, I remember one of the roast jokes that I made on Comedy Central that didn't actually get broadcast was the good thing about going out with Jessie is that she's a rape victim, which means she's incredibly emotionally intelligent, but she fucks like a mad pig. And
was that cut?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
That was one of the ones, I think, because the whole roast battle was like, I said, can you tell me your jokes, please? Because I want to know what yours are, because I've got some that are quite mean. And you went, yeah. And one of mine was about like, I think one of mine was Jessie's weight. Jessie's mood fluctuates almost as much as her weight. So when you're having sex with her, it's hard to tell whether you're looking at a stretch mark or a self-harm scar.
Oh yeah, that was good.
It's a good joke. And then I went, so what are yours, Jessie? Because mine are like that. And you went, Alfie always loses his car keys. So me and you had to do all of our jokes for each other in the room to make sure that we were all right with what each other was saying. And rather than not be okay with what you were saying, we had to together rewrite your set to make it a lot meaner.
No, you just wrote mine for me.
Well, sure. But
you just wrote the horrible things about yourself and gave them to me.
Mm.
It was great. That was the most terrifying experience of my entire, like in terms of being nervous before going on stage, the most terrifying thing I've ever done.
Yeah. It was great fun. And also it was a large contributing factor in getting us back together.
We were already back together, Alfie.
We weren't.
You're just annoying. You're just annoying.
Well, then I need to make some phone calls.
Okay. Right. That's an hour.
It's not an hour. It's 55 minutes. And we haven't spoken about my lovely romantic relationships.
Oh, sorry.
But we can save that for a future webisode.
No, I mean that you can tell that you're just a very secure man, sexually and in no other ways. And that's probably because you just had nice experiences as a teen having sex. And
very, very lucky with my girlfriends and everybody that I was with. Girlfriend 1, girlfriend 2. Girlfriend 2 looked identical Sienna Miller. Amazing.
What the fuck?
I knew that was...
Who is this fucking woman? What?
Her name was Lucy.
I don't give a shit what her name was. I mean, when? Who?
Just a couple of weeks ago.
Sienna Miller?
Yeah.
Did she wear one of those disc belts?
I haven't committed her disc belts to memory.
Does she have layered hair?
She had blonde, sort of wavy hair.
Was it dyed?
It was dyed.
Yeah. Good.
Anyway.
Yeah, you also, I saw this thing the other day that it actually shows that you're a psychopath if you are friendly or friends with your exes. So you are a psychopath.
Yeah, and so were they.
Mm. You're just too nice. You're so nice to everyone.
That's a lot of psychopaths, isn't it? That I know.
I think it's more sane to duck and run if you see an ex.
But I wouldn't say that I'm not going out for regular coffees. We're not meeting for dinner. We're not going out for drinks. We're not texting gossip to each other. We just enjoy when we see each other to exchange oral sex.
Okay.
We just enjoy when we see each other to have a chat and to be fun and funny and like go and catch up.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm sorry about that, but it is. Anyway, good podcasting from you today. Thank you for being...
Thank you.
Should we end every podcast on a nice... Because we do fun bickering during the podcast, but should we end with a nice thing about...
Okay, that's nice.
I think it's nice to end on a nice thing.
I hate you.
Okay.
Okay, I think that you're doing amazingly as a dog dad. And I'm so proud of you for getting up in the mornings and like being so efficient and yeah, allowing this love into our lives. And I just think you're doing really, really well.
Thanks. I think I never ceased to be amazed with your incredible capacity for investigating yourself and being willing to talk about things that are difficult. And I think you are, as a person and an artist, incredibly brave.
That's very sweet. I don't think that's true, but that's nice.
I'm not sure this feature will stay. It's quite sickening, isn't it?
Yeah. Now let's say something that we really, really hated about the other this week.
Okay. I don't want to.
You haven't done anything that I've hated, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're doing. I think that the money we're spending on the dog's meat is the only thing that I do resent you for.
Well, he's transitioning to dry food.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a hot debate for another episode. If anybody cares enough about the raw food, blah blah blah.
I really hope that the dog trainer follows us back on Instagram.
Has he not followed you back?
No, he's not followed me back.
Good. Because I was going to be really annoyed if he had followed you back.
Has he followed you back?
No.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check in a second, see if he's following me back.
But we need to go and have more one-on-one sessions with him.
I need a one-on-one session with him. And I want him to be horrible to me. Okay? Thank you very much for listening. By the time you're listening to this, we will have our Patreon up and running.
We're mentioning the Patreon at the beginning of the podcast, so everybody already knows that.
Yeah, but you should mention it at the beginning, the middle and the end.
Okay.
Well, hammer it home.
Patreon.
Patreon.com. That's it.
We were very lucky with that URL.
Yeah, .com/Brave Clown. And we'll be back next week. Thank you very much for listening.